Wars have raged across nearly every part of the world throughout history, sparked by conflicts over territory, resources, ideology, or power, you name it, and someone's likely died fighting for it. Like the carnivores of the wild, when diplomacy fails, humans often resort to violence to seize what they desire. While the act of war might seem simple at its core, the tactics devised by commanders and armies to gain an edge can vary from savage to downright weird. There's a thin boundary between innovative military brilliance and sheer madness, but occasionally, unconventional ideas deliver big wins. Here are 5 instances of outlandish historical battle strategies that surprisingly succeeded. Number 1. Faking death. In 860 AD, Hastein, a seasoned Viking leader, aimed to plunder Mediterranean lands in classic Norse style. After all, while some folks vacation in Rome, others prefer to ransack it, different strokes for different folks. Hastein teamed up with the aptly named Bjorn Ironside, commanding a fleet exceeding 60 vessels up the Loire River in pursuit of targets. They journeyed through France, Spain, and Morocco, striking opportunistically. Their rampage had mixed results. Hastein and Bjorn faced defeats in initial assaults before mastering the art. Raiding takes practice, apparently. Eventually, they reached Italy and what they believed was Rome. Viewing Rome as the supreme target, Hastein devised a scheme to infiltrate and loot it internally. Aware of the Romans' deep Christian faith, he instructed his warriors to transport him on a litter to the city gates. He claimed to the sentries that he was near death and sought Christian conversion for redemption. In alternate versions, he feigned death on the litter after expressing conversion interest the prior day. The guards bought it, naturally, because before them was a battle-hardened Viking who'd likely gutted their kin recently, but eternal salvation matters. They escorted Hastein and his crew inside for final rites. Once past the walls, shockingly, Hastein sprang up and started slaughtering all around. The icing on this cake? It wasn't Rome at all, but Luna, about 270 miles north. Close enough, it succeeded anyway. Number 2, feline diversion. If you're a cat lover, you're familiar with the sway a kitty can have, those wide, luminous eyes, the twitching tail, the gentle purr. A cat's charm can melt the toughest hearts, and if you're not into cats, maybe reconsider your priorities. Arguably the most fervent cat enthusiasts ever were the ancient Egyptians, often described as cat worshippers. This isn't fully accurate. They didn't adore the creatures directly but revered gods with cat-like traits, seeing felines as divine embodiments. Still, cats played a massive role in Egyptian society and enjoyed elevated status, even now. Persian king Cambyses II capitalized on this cat devotion during his bid to capture the Egyptian stronghold of Pelusium in 525 BC. Though the Persian assault was formidable, the Egyptians initially held firm against Cambyses. That changed when he altered his approach. He had depictions of the cat goddess Batet etched onto his troops' shields, then escalated by deploying actual cats on the battlefield frontline, alongside other creatures like dogs, sheep, and ibises. Given I struggle to coax my cat over despite endless calls, how Cambyses marshaled a cat army for Persia remains a mystery. Regardless, since Egyptians venerated Batet, cats, and these animals so highly, they hesitated to attack, fearing harm to the beasts or their deity's likeness. A crime with severe penalties. The Egyptian ranks withdrew, only to be pursued and decimated by Cambyses and his forces, or should I say, his Miao soldiers. Number 3, the corvus, or essentially a massive boarding plank. The First Punic War, spanning 264 to 241 BC, kicked off a century-plus series of clashes pitting Rome against Carthage as the era's dominant powers vied for Mediterranean dominance. This initial war stands as antiquity's longest unbroken conflict and largest sea-based campaign, with much action centered on Sicily and its coastal seas. Romans excelled in ground warfare back then, but their fleet was novice and under-equipped next to Carthage's superior navy. To counter this, Romans invented the corvus, basically a large wooden beam with a spike underneath. Sounds basic enough for anyone to concoct, but here's the plan: they'd close in on Carthaginian ships and drop the corvus to bridge the divide. Once latched, Romans would cross over, transforming a naval skirmish into infantry combat, where they dominated and routed the Carthaginians. The corvus wasn't flawless, it was bulky, destabilized Roman ships, and maneuvering a huge timber slab to snag a rocking foe vessel proved tricky. Yet, it served as a vital asset for Roman fleets, providing an early advantage in the Punic Wars. After heavy casualties on each side, Rome triumphed in the First Punic War, thanks in part to the corvus. Number 4. Caesar's dual encirclement. This one spotlights the Romans again, but led by the legendary Julius Caesar, our iconic ruler and salad innovator. The Battle of Alesia marked a pivotal clash in the Gallic Wars, Caesar's effort to conquer Gaul's Celtic peoples. Caesar aimed for full dominion over Gaul, encompassing today's France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and segments of Switzerland, Italy, the Netherlands, and Germany. Assaulting the fortified Gallic town of Alesia head-on seemed futile, so he opted for a starvation siege: surround the foe, block aid and supplies, and wait for surrender due to famine, sparing direct combat. Caesar built an initial barrier, termed a contravallation, around Alesia, barring all entry or exit, complete with camps, towers, and cavalry posts. The siege commenced. Now, the twist: Alesia's Gallic chief, Vercingetorix. Seriously, more epic names like this, please. Welcomed Caesar's move, intending to use the town as bait for a flanking counterstrike on the Romans. As the inner wall rose, Vercingetorix summoned backups. Caesar, refusing to be trapped, went extreme. He commanded a second outer wall, a circumvallation, built rapidly to face incoming forces. Suddenly, Alesia was trapped in a Roman layered defense, and rescuers faced breaching dual barriers. Though the fight dragged on, Caesar prevailed, with Vercingetorix yielding to prevent mass starvation. This maneuver ranks among Caesar's finest strategic triumphs, concluding the Gallic Wars and securing his grip on Gaul. Number 5. Incendiary camels. Hang in there. Timur, or Tamerlane, was a Turco-Mongol warlord who established the Timurid Empire in Central Asia and swaths of the contemporary Middle East. Timur remained unbeaten in command and earned notoriety as one of history's most ruthless and lethal strategists. He'd liven up any gathering. Among his major feats was ravaging India, particularly the 1398 Battle of Delhi, where Timur targeted the city to shatter the Delhi Sultanate, India's sprawling powerhouse. Timur's camel-mounted troops clashed with an Indian force boasting over 100 war elephants clad in chain mail and fitted with toxin-laced tusks, like straight out of a fantasy epic. Arming and training elephants in the 1300s boggles the mind, but anyway. In a camel versus elephant showdown, elephants hold the edge, and Timur's men were terrified, morale plummeting at the prospect of being stomped by venomous behemoths. Timur, the cunning brute, improvised with available resources. He dismounted his riders, piled camels high with hay and timber. Stick with this, it turns dark. Once burdened, Timur ignited the loads and drove the blazing camels toward enemy ranks. Timur lacked the Egyptians' animal reverence, but you don't become infamous for savagery by being gentle. As the Indians' elephants faced charging, shrieking, fire-engulfed camels, they panicked and stampeded back into their own lines, crushing allies and sowing pandemonium. Timur exploited the disorder with a full assault, clinching a swift win before the Indians regrouped. He then plundered Delhi, butchering multitudes and looting treasures galore before retreating to Central Asia. And yes, he claimed the elephants. They're incredibly handy, after all.